A warm welcome to the Boulevard for this afternoon's Stones Pitter Championship First Division encounter between our own Hull FC and local rivals Hull Kingston Rovers here at the Boulevard. A horrible day it is on Humberside, lots of rain, a muddy pitch, and Hull looking to provide 2 points and revenge for an early season defeat against Hull Kingston Rovers at Craven Park. The two teams then for this afternoon: Richard Gay is at fullback, 2 is Paul Eastwood, 3 James Grant, 4 Gary Nolan, 5 is Neil Turner, 6 Scott Gale, 7 Ivan Henjak, 8 Mark Jones, 9 is Lee Jackson, 10 Steve McNamara, 11 is Russ Walker, 12 John Sharp, and loose forward is Dean Busby, with the 2 Hull subs, Rob Nolan and Anthony Jackson. Hull KR, they line up with Mike Fletcher at fullback, 2 is Bright Sodgy, 3 Carl Hall, 4 David Lydiard, 5 is Mike Bibby, 6 Wayne Parker, 7 is Gary Chatfield, 8 Wayne Jackson, 9 Richard Chamberlain, 10 Craig O'Brien, 11 Andy Thompson, 12 Paul Fletcher, and loose forward for Hull KR is Paul Speckman, with his 2 subs, George Fairbank, Des Harrison and Chris Harrison at 14 and 15 respectively. Hull KR, of course, in their red and white shirts on white shorts, Hull in that regular home strip of black and white, and regular hoops of purple flashes and black shorts. The referee for today's game is Mr. R. Smith from Casford and his touch judges, and Mr. A. Pickett with the red flag, and Mr. G. Whitley with the yellow flag. Hull, of course, were defeated by Hull Kingston Rovers in the earlier season derby, and they'll be looking for the revenge, as we say, from this game, and to provide some form for their supporters. They've had a barren season. Really, the pick of this season wins, of course, over Wigan and St Helens. Very little other to cheer from. Of course, Hull reaching the semi-final of the Regal Trophy, and of course defeated by Wigan at Central Park. It looks as if Hull have won the toss, and Hull KR will kick to Hull. Hull playing from left to right in this first half, Hull KR from right to left. As we get ready to start this local derby underway, it's Mike Fletcher who will be taking the kick. Fletcher gets this local derby underway, Hull's last league game at the Boulevard this season. Of course, it will be fraught with relegation troubles, but for the new 2-division system coming in, Ivan Henjak there quickly involved. Certainly a lot of local pride at stake. Hull looking to restore some of it after that defeat at Craven Park. And in these conditions, it'll be the side that makes the least mistakes that'll pick up the 2 points. Well, moving forward there with Steve McNamara. Gains very little ground on this muddy surface. Lee Jackson has to go along. No support with him. And he's well tackled by Wayne Jackson and 2 or 3 other Hull KR forwards. Henjak now at our acting half. On to his number 12, John Sharp. Sharp gains a couple of yards before he's put down. Jackson once more back to his kicker, which is number 6 this afternoon, Scott Gale. Gale, good kick downfield, but it's well picked up by Mike Fletcher. He gains a couple of yards, and there's Mark Jones and Steve McNamara trying to put him down. Mark Jones does the business to the fullback. Sharp there in with a stern challenge, along with Mark Jones once more. KR trying to push forward. Jackson can't keep the man alive, but he gets onto the second man as Hull KR try and keep the ball alive. Scott Gale also involved then with that tackle as Hull KR move the ball now to the right. And another good tackle, this time from number 13, Dean Busby. Kick in from Kingston Rovers. It's a nice little chip over the top. Fullback Richard Gay will have to watch this one. Good run from Gay, but he gains no yardage there against the recovering forwards and centre David Lydiard. Acting half run now from Neil Turner. And already that field cutting up even more with the rugby being played up the forwards, the back seeing very little of the ball in these opening stages. It's all one-pass stuff. There's Sharp trying to get the ball away to Jones, and he does just that. Well, still deep inside their own half. They need to try and find some penetration. Number 13, Dean Busby, again once more well tackled by his Hull KR fellow forwards. Gale's kick doesn't gain much yardage at all. Well picked up by Gary Chatfield. Hull KR with a chance now for putting some pressure on the Hull line. Moving it to their right to number 10, Craig O'Brien. Once more to the right, once more. And there's Bright Sodji involved, and he's hit well by his opposite number 4, Gary Nolan. Okay, I'm trying to move the ball, can't gain any yardage at all. They're finding trouble finding their feet, as both teams are going to do this afternoon. And that muddy surface, it would be a wise investment to move the ball to the wings, because at least there's some hard ground out on the touchlines. In the middle of the field, it's already cut up something awful in the middle of the field, and Hull once more under pressure. Here's Richard Gay trying to pick off the kick. He lets the ball go over his head, cleverly lets it go out of play, and it'll be a tap on the 22 for Hull KR. Jackson bringing into play his number 13, Dean Busby. Good run from Busby. And referee there, Mr. Smith from Castleford, he wasn't happy about some tackle from the Hull KR forward, and it'll be a penalty for Hull, which Lee Jackson wants to take quickly. Mr. Smith wasn't too keen about that. He wanted to have words with the Hull KR forward, which is Wayne Jackson. And he signals a high tackle was the reason for the penalty. Paul Eastwood with a chance now to relieve some pressure for Hull and put some onto their local rivals, Hull Kingston Rovers. Good kick from Eastwood, gains some 10 yards. Here's Mark Jones, brought in well by Henjak, who's trying to get those forwards and backs moving to some cohesion. That's a wasted ball at all, but they've got away with it. Nice slip there from number 10, Steve McNamara. A chance for Gay to bring in his centre and wingman, but Gay's pass was nowhere near Neil Turner. Turner, who came inside, Gale looked for him on the wing. First scrum of the game. That's a surprising statistic in this conditions. Number 7, Gary Chatfield, will feed the scrum, and he'll get that ball away from the base of it. Some argy-bargy there between the two sets of forwards. Seemed as if it was handbags at 10 paces, and okay, I've got a penalty there for what looked like an off-the-ball incident. Mr. Smith evening things up, a penalty apiece now. Fletcher putting the ball into the ground to kick for touch. Parker having to hold it. Fletcher looking for the touch on the right hand side, and he's found it too. More pressure from Kingston Rovers. George Furban's team have had a torrid season at the bottom of the Stones Bitter Championship, but they've come good in recent weeks with one or two useful performances and a few useful wins. Here's Hull moving out of that danger area. Slap pass from number 6, Wayne Parker. Hull picking it off. Here's Gary Nolan trying to drive the ball away. Hull yet to have any attack of any consistency on the Hull Kingston Rovers line, but they look to have picked up a penalty there. Mr. Smith agreeing with me that the man was held down, Gary Nolan. And that's Hull's second penalty of the afternoon. Yes, Hull Kingston Rovers would have been in the second division, but for that new development, of course, with the two divisions, no relegation from the first division, of course, Hull would have been in deep trouble too at the foot of the table. Thankfully, the new system being voted in has meant the last few games of this season have been about pride and not really about points. This one certainly has a lot of pride involved in it, and 2 points. Here's Mark Jones trying to get Hull moving forward. No score here at the Boulevard. Hull nil, Hull KR nil. Steve McNamara once more gains a couple more yards. Lee Jackson now trying to move things from acting half. Sharp involved once more, and Gale. Here's Richard Gay out on the right hand side, which looks the least affected. Looks quite hard, the ground over there on the far side of the field. And you've got to say that that's where the Hull forwards will want to run. As he'll get away there with what looked like a knock on. Henjak on for Gale. Good kick from Gale. He's found touch on the left hand side. Some 10 yards short of the Hull KR line, and that will put some pressure on the Hull KR forwards. Gary Chatfield once more gets the ball from the scrum, brings in Sodji, and Sodji seems to have lost the ball there, but that's of course a penalty. You can't steal the ball in the tackle. Mr. Smith rightly gives the penalty for pulling the ball out of the tackle. Fletcher with his goal-kicking style, kick for touch. Certainly we didn't expect a classic. The conditions and the weather don't really live up to what would be a big local derby. It wouldn't surprise me if one or two tries separate these two teams at the end of the game, and not much more. It's all about effort and endeavour this afternoon, not skill and class. Fletcher with a kick for touch. He finds it. So 15 yards short of the halfway line now, Hull KR, bringing it forward through Wayne Jackson. Hull KR trying to move the forward off number 7, Gary Chatfield. But once more the Hull defence standing firm, pushing the man back some 5 or 6 yards. Number 12 there, Paul Fletcher, losing the ball, but unfortunately for Hull it went backwards. Jones in once more. Eastwood coming in from his wing role to do some tackling duties. It's certainly been up-front stuff. Eastwood involved once more. Big gang tackles from Hull. So KR and Mr. Smith get another penalty. And it's quickly taken to by Chatfield. He wants to keep this game alive, and there's a fist there from number 13, Dean Busby, and all hell breaks out for a minute until Mr. Smith can separate things. Quickly in there was the man in red, as were the two touch judges. I think the Hull KR forward, which looked like Wayne Jackson, he didn't seem too happy at all about the Hull number 13, Dean Busby's heavy tackle. And this could be the chance for some points on the board for Hull Kingston Rovers. It's pretty central, is this penalty. And I'd make it some 30 or 40 yards out from the Hull in-goal area. And more importantly, the Hull posts. As suspected, Paul Fletcher with the ball, and he's going to go for goal. Fletcher looking to put the first points on the board, and he's done just that. An excellent kick from Paul Fletcher, rather Mike Fletcher, and apologies to him. The first points on the board with a penalty from some 40 yards. An indiscretion by Dean Busby has cost Hull dear. Fletcher taking full advantage with that excellent kick. Eastwood getting ready to kick the ball off once more. Hull, to be fair, have had very little attacking plays at the minute. They've been kept in that quadrum of mud in the middle of the field by some persistent Hull KR forwards. Eastwood gets the game back underway. With not a bad kick at all, deep downfield. The Hull forwards quickly up, as was Scott Gale, to get the man knocked down. Good tackle from Steve McNamara there, knocks his man right back on his backside. Jackson in from acting half with McNamara once more. Here's Paul Eastwood there with a good stern challenge, gang stuff from the Hull players. And Mr. Smith keeping a watchful eye on it too. This local derby's already once or twice looked like erupting. Here's Richard Gay chasing back after that long kick from Chatfield, and it was too long eventually. It's gone out for a tap on the 22. Jackson will bring his forwards in from the tap. Mark Jones there battering round, but he's met convincingly by his opposite number, Wayne Jackson. Here's Steve McNamara. He's had an influential part in this early part of the game. 2 or 3 storming runs from him, plus a number of big hits. Sharp now trying to get Hull moving. Jackson quickly from acting half. He's run down a dead end there though. He manages to gain a good 10 or 15 yards. Henjack now on to Sharp once more. Sharp quickly away. Into play for the first time on his wing is Neil Turner. And that's a penalty. Mr. Smith not happy about the tackle from Soji. It's given a penalty to Hull for a high tackle on Neil Turner. Eastwood not opting for the kick. He decides instead to go for touch. A chance for Hull for the first time in the game to put some real pressure on that Hull KR line. Here's Mark Jones. Good run from him. They need the forwards here to set some platform for the backs. Henjack trying to get in a little short ball. Busby onto it, but unable to power over. Henjack once more. Hull forwards gaining no real yardage. It needs something special from maybe one of those clever backs. Here's Sharp once more on to number 11 this time, Ross Walker. Now the ball being given some air. Sharp once more brings into play Richard Gay, but an awful run and pass between the forward and the back. Somehow they're managing to keep the ball. Sharp involved once more. On to James Grant. Grant back to Gay, who chases on the drop ball. Chance maybe. And it's a try. An excellent score for Hull. A kick on between Grant and Richard Gay ended with the score for Scott Gale. Scott Gale going over for the first try of the game. Hull turning a half opportunity into what looks like 6 points if Paul Eastwood can add the conversion. Mr. Smith deciding there was no knock on and that the kick was legitimate, and Hull taking full advantage. And Scott Gale coming up with a priceless try here in this first 20 minutes. Eastwood now with the helper. With 2 points. Just manages to do so. He was very near to missing that one. He swung it to his right, but he managed to make it a 6-point try, and that by the end of the game might prove vital. Torrential rain on a soggy pitch. We've had the first try of the match, and it's come Hull's way. A clever try from Scott Gale after a helping hand from Richard Gay and number 3 James Grant. Another penalty for Hull. Once more the Hull KR forwards not keen to keep off the man. This time it was Hull coming forward once more. this time at acting half. Henjak interlinking well. Richard Gay now on a nice little run. And caught though by the Hull KR covering backs. Here's Steve McNamara. David Lydiard in with a tackle on him. Jackson moving the ball quickly. Gale runs across, misses one out and gives it to his second runner, John Sharp. Henjak now onto Gale once more. Grant gets round his man. Chance here for James Grant. He's just short, is he, of the line? Oh, yes, Mr. Smith decides that he wasn't over. And in fact, that was the sixth tackle. He seemed to slip then, did James Grant. On his way to what looked a certain try. Hull, of course, leading by 6 points to 2. Scott Gale's try and Paul Eastwood's goal, putting Hull back in front after Mike Fletcher's early penalty. Another fracas in the middle. I think the penalty might go Hull KR's way this time. There's quite a lot of fans here inside the Boulevard this afternoon, despite the atrocious weather conditions. Full credit really to the supporters. They're playing the players only for pride. Smith. Mike Fletcher once more kicks for touch. Well over halfway through this first 40-minute period. Hull in the lead by 6 points to 2. And we're back in that quagmire in the middle of the pitch. That's number 8, Wayne Jackson, with a forceful run. The Hull forwards sticking to the task and keeping him down there as he looked to get up. Chatterfield and number 6 Wayne Parker getting rid of the ball very quickly indeed. In fact, there was a knock on there by number 11 Andy Thompson. Hull in with the quick tackles, moving up very fast in that line. It means that Ivan Henjak has the chance now to feed the scrum. It'll have to be reformed though. Henjak gets the ball from the base of the scrum. Gale on now for Richard Gay. Gay missed out one runner, brings in the second, number 4, Gary Nolan, and Nolan's dumped on his back with a super tackle from Fletcher. Here's number 10, Steve McNamara. Gains a couple more yards. Rather, in fact, it was Dean Busby that time. The numbers getting a little undistinguishable as more and more dirt accumulates on them. Henjak on for Scott Gale. Chance here for Gary Nolan to kick the ball on. He manages to do that, but he's unable to pick the ball up. Clever take from Gary Chatfield. Looking as a dummy there behind the line. Or rather, a bobby behind the line. Once more, the Hull tackles in fast and furious. This time, Mark Jones, the man putting in the tackle. Jackson misses the chance there, picking off his opposite, number 9, Richard Chamberlain, and Chamberlain gains a few yards at his expense. Chatfield on looking for his backs. There's Mike Fletcher up in the line from full-back. He was hit then without coming onto the ball with any speed at all. High kick over the top. Gay once more having to watch it. Comes back and picks the ball up cleanly. He's unable to gain any yards at all. Quick tackling from Chamberlain. And number 6 Wayne Parker. Turner coming into the field to do some forward work from acting half. His centre Gary Nolan bringing into play Mark Jones. Once more we're stuck in the mud in the middle of the field. Russ Walker trying to take us away from it. This is Henjak. Henjak on for Jackson. Good play here from Hull, but a super tackle by number 8 Wayne Jackson then as Scott Gale trying to get away. Here's Soji. First chance to see his lightning pace, and he's unable to show us any of it as he's hit well by Gary Nolan. Busting tackle and a busting run too from the Hull KR forward, number 10, Craig O'Brien. As Hull KR try and stretch the ball to the wing, and they've done well here. It's managed to get Mike Bibby. Once more the Hull defence firm. Grant this time with the timely tackle. Parker releasing the tackle there, manages to get Hull KR quick opportunity. He could have got the ball to Chatfield, something would have been on then for Kingston Rovers. As it is, they're keeping Hull penned on their line. They've yet been able to produce any forceful run that looks like scoring. Of course, that penalty from Mike Fletcher, the only score for Kingston Rovers, is Richard Gay once more shows his capabilities at full back. Good catch from the man wearing the number 1 shirt this afternoon. Just to remind you the score, it's 6-2 in favour of the Early Birds. Scott Gale's try and Paul Eastwood's conversion after Mike Fletcher give Hull KR an early lead, putting Royce Simmons' side into a 4-point advantage. Ross Walker, clever little slip ball there to John Sharp. Sharp unable to gain any real yardage though. Approaching the half-time whistle, here's Scott Gale. Make it maybe 10 or 15 minutes to go to the half-time hooter. And Hull with another timely penalty. Mr. Smith deciding that the player was being pulled. They've certainly had their fair share of set-piece penalties. Jackson once more doing the run from dummy half. Dean Busby gaining some 10 yards in the cause. Here's Steve McNamara also pushing the Hull players forward. Now Mark Jones running straight through him, and he's held up, I'd say, some 10 yards short of that Hull KR line. Chance here for Hull to maybe take advantage of this rare opportunity on the Hull KR line. Henjak with a clever kick through, maybe on here. Henjak, can he pick it up? No, but the other Hull player can. It's Paul Eastwood. Oh, clever stuff there from the Australian. A super try again from Hull from the kick, taking advantage of Henjak's ball between the two Hull KR players, dissecting them both, and in for the score was Paul Eastwood. 10 points to 2. Hull KR in front now. Hull rather in front now against Hull KR. Chance now for Eastwood to add his second goal of the afternoon. Second try of the afternoon for Hull. Both have come from kicks through. First one fell to Scott Gale. This one has fallen to Paul Eastwood. Eastwood can take his tally in the match to 10 points if he can put this kick over. Just to the left of the upright. He struck it sweetly between the posts to give Hull now a 10-point advantage over their local rivals, Hull Kingston Rovers. Just over 10 minutes to go to the half-time hooter. Hull in the driving seat. They've only had really 2 or 3 opportunities on the Hull KR line, to be fair to them. They've managed to cash in on 2, while Hull have had all the defensive work to do in this first 40 minutes. They've managed a 12 points to 2 lead and 2 scores. Certainly it'll be a lot easier going in the second 40 minutes, you'd expect. Richard Gay with another good take in the in-goal area from Mike Fletcher's kick. And Hull KR made 2 substitutions. A double substitution from George Fairburn. Des Harrison and Chris Harrison have both come on. I'm not quite sure as yet who've left the field. Certainly it'll be intended to buck up the forwards. quickly into the action is Harrison with his second tackle in 2 tackles. Here's Mark Jones, who's gaining in confidence here with these storming runs up the middle of the field. He's enjoying these conditions. Now Sharp, not a good pass from Sharp, and Sodji nearly onto it. Turner gets back to block his run, but the ball goes out for what will surely be Hull KR's feed from the scrum. Chatfield picks the ball up from the base. On way to Parker. Gains no ground at all. In fact, he looks to have gone back 5 or 10 yards, and he quickly gets the ball away to his number 15, Chris Harrison. Harrison now to the left-hand side for Hull KR, and centre Rob Hutchinson, or rather Carl Hall. Chatfield. He got away from the challenge from Russ Walker, and he's got the ball onto Hall once more. Good tackling from the Hull players there. The touch judge is on. I've got a feeling there'll be a penalty here, and it won't be in the early birds' favour. Mr. Smith not impressed by the high tackle there from, I think it was James Grant. Absolutely sure. Looked like James Grant with a high tackle. It's given Hull KR an opportunity here to put some pressure on the Hull line. Harrison gains a couple of yards, but not many. Oh, what a hit there on number 14, Des Harrison, by the Hull forward. I think it was Steve McNamara there with a tremendous hit on him, but Mr. Smith decides that McNamara was offside. Mike Fletcher now with a chance to reduce the arrears. Second penalty attempt of the afternoon. His first one was successful, and it gave Hull KR the lead. Since then, of course, we've had 2 tries from the early birds. First from Scott Gale, Eastwood converting, then Eastwood himself going over and converting the try to make it 12 points to 2. This could make it 12-4. Fletcher makes no mistake. The lead's reduced to 8 points. It's now Hull 12 and KR 4. Those 2 penalties from Mike Fletcher may at the end of the day prove crucial. It certainly tries what Hull KR need at the moment. Hull have come up with 2 6-pointers, while all Hull KR have had in reply is 2 penalties from Mike Fletcher. Eastwood with the deep kick. After it goes Lee Jackson, and suddenly Hull have got the advantage, or have they? Mr. Smith's not happy about something, and neither is Lee Jackson. I think it's a scrum down, knock on given against the Hull player, in fact. Chatfield with the ball from the scrum. On to Parker. Parker steps inside Scott Gale, but Scott Gale reaches an arm across, and he's helped also by Dean Busby. There's John Sharp with a powerful, strong tackle to push his man back, and suddenly Hull have got the ball once more. Rob Nolan with it, but there's a knock-on again, and Nolan's not happy. In these conditions, too many passes will always mean more knock-ons. Gary Chatfield will have a chance to get the ball once more from the scrum, and Hull KR will get the chance to clear their lines for the second time. Certainly the Hull tackling alone, no quarter at all. Here's Sodji. Busby round his legs, Nolan round his head. Chatfield on to his number 10, Craig O'Brien. once more the Hull defence staying firm. Good little run from Chamberlain. Chatfield was right up behind him and he managed to get the short ball. Once more the cover tackles coming in well from the early birds. It's not a bad kick at all from Fletcher. It looks like it's just going to go in touch, and it has done. A couple of yards, a couple of inches it seemed, from the touch line, from the touch flag in the in-goal area. Well, that's the margin between success and failure. Another yard then, and that kick would have meant a tap on the 22. As it is, that kick pegs Hull back on their line, and Hull have made a substitution too. Number 15, Anthony Jackson, has come on. I feel Russ Walker's gone off. I'm not certain about that. Yes, Russ Walker has left the field. Henjak. And there to Turner. Turner trying to get through Wayne Parker and Brad Sodji. Good tackle from Sodji there to peg back Mark Jones, as he once more tried to show us his speed and agility there moving forward. McNamara, he too has gone through some amazing amount of work in this first 40 minutes, both in attack and in defence. The Hull forwards are certainly be happy about that penalty award to relieve the pressure once more, and they'll be happy when the half-time hooter goes too for a respite. Conditions have determined that this match will be played up front between the two sets of forwards. Whoever can put in the most effort, see the least mistakes you feel in these conditions, come out on top. Here's Jones once more. Every set of 6 you seem to see him for at least 1 or 2 tackles. There's substitute Anthony Jackson. Now John Sharp. This isn't a bad foray by the Hull forwards. They've moved the ball swiftly upfield. Steve McNamara gains another 5 or 6 yards before he's brought down on the left-hand touchline. There's a platform here for the Hull backs to come in on. Jackson, though, has been pulled back for the forward pass. The Hull forwards then providing the platform for the Hull backs to come into play. The forward pass has stopped all that, giving Hull the chance of possession once more. Chatfield with the ball from the scrum. Parker on to his centre, and once more Hull KR have lost the ball, and Hull pick it up. Another opportunity for Hull to cash in here with another 6-pointer. Jones doing the battering ram there. Held up just short by the 2 substitutes, Des and Chris Harrison. Jackson back to Henjak. Henjak on to Gale. Gale runs across, misses out one, and then passes in front of another onto Steve McNamara, who's tackled into touch. And how many times have we seen Hull, when they've had the possession in this match and in this first 40 minutes on the Hull KR line, give the ball away on first or second tackle. Chatfield once more with the ball from the scrum, brings in Sodji. Sodji ran straight at Rob Nolan, or rather Scott Gale. Gale met him with a tremendous hit, as was that one there from substitute number 15, Anthony Jackson. Hull KR looking for some inspiration as yet. Nobody really standing up to show some inspirational qualities, and there's a lost ball from Wayne Jackson. Hull with the ball once more. Neil Turner away from the ankle tap, but into touch it seems. Yes, touch judge with the yellow flag, Mr. Whitley, rather Wheatley, decides that the man was in touch. That'll be another scrum with head and ball, Hull KR. for the scoreline here at the Boulevard, thanks to 2 tries from Gale and Eastwood. A try apiece for the standoff and wingman. Eastwood kicking both. Here's Jones looking for the 3rd try of the afternoon for Hull FC. We're approaching injury time at the end of this first half. Here's Scott Gale. Hull have had, for the first time in this first 40 minutes, some consistent pressure on the Hull KR line. The 2 other tries came from kicks and rare raids. The try comes from this joint downfield. It will be after some 18 or so tackles on the Hull KR line. Jackson, though, can't score like that. Henjak now at acting half. Gets the ball away to Gay. Gay with another kick through. Could Hull be onto it again? Looks like a try for John Sharp, or is it? Or is it Paul Eastwood? Eastwood looked to have scored, but the referees disallowed it. It's a tap on 22. Eastwood, I think, just was unable then to touch the ball. It looked from this angle as if he'd done just that. And got Hull's 3rd try of the afternoon from their 3rd kick through into that in-goal area. Hull KR get a let off, and bringing the ball out of their own half there is Parker. Chamberlain on to Chatfield. Chatfield moves it over to his centre on the right hand side, number 4 David Lydiard. Lydiard has lost the ball and Eastwood has picked it up. I really do fancy that Hull will want something from this pressure at the end of this first 40 minutes. They've got little time left to pick something up, and Jackson has dropped the ball. He lies in the mud because he knows that was a big mistake. The substitute number 15, Chris Harrison, was the man to come up with possession. And once more the ball dropped, and it swapped possession 3 times there in just 2 tackles. It'll be interesting to see who gets head and ball from this scrum. It's gone Hull's way. The referee looking at the first knock on. So Hull will have possession here with Ivan Henjak from the scrum. No, they won't. On against the head. Chatfield brings the ball away. Chance here maybe for Hull KR. No, knock on. Mike Bibby then looking to get away on the left wing. 5 minutes into injury time, or at least that now, as we approach the end of this first half. Hull bringing the ball away from the scrum. Eastwood bringing it forward. Jackson from acting half. 12. Hull KR for the score at the Boulevard at the minute, as we approach the half-time hooter. Good switch pass inside by Sharp onto Busby. Busby looks round for support. Henjak was right behind him, but he didn't see the Australian number 7. Hull looking for one last score before the interval. Jones gains a couple more yards. Stuck though in the middle of that quagmire in the middle of the pitch. Here's Henjak once more looking for the little kick. He seemed to be brought down then. Hull KR come up with possession though, and Mr. Smith just signals that that's the half-time hooter. Half-time then at the Boulevard. Hull 12, Hull KR 4. Henjak there looking like he's picked up some sort of knock, getting a little jog on to run round. It might just be the cold though. Certainly a lot of rain coming down for Australians like him, unused to this weather conditions in Britain. Or rather, he will be getting used to those conditions after a full season at Hull. Must be a far cry though from places like Bondi Beach, etc, etc. Certainly the Australian contingent in the British game want summer rugby. I don't know what your views on that are. Certainly the Rugby League would like to hear from you if you have any thoughts on the subject, because there's a strong case looking into the fact that summer rugby might start happening this time next season. It would stop games like this, but that, from my view, if it takes any consideration at all, is what rugby's all about. There's games like this. Good kick there from Hull. Very good kick indeed from Paul Eastwood. He's managed to find the in-goal area and dead, which means a dropout from Hull KR. Fletcher with the dropout. Goes straight to Richie Gay. Gay on to number 12, John Sharp. Sharp knocks on, and it's quickly picked up the ball by the... Andy Thompson. Chamberlain. Quickly knocked back by Jackson. The substitute, he came on some 5 minutes before the half-time interval for number 11, Russ Walker. Chatfield kicks that ball through, but it's picked up by his opposite number, Ivan Henjak. Henjak trying to find some room for the run. He's unable to find any at all, and he receives a stand tackle there by number 9, Chamberlain, who misses the second attempt on Richard Gay. Gay loses the ball, but it seemed to be robbed from him, and Mr. Smith agrees with me and gives him the penalty, which I'm sure Paul Eastwood will have a dabble with at goal. A chance for Eastwood to restore the 10-point advantage. Hull with the little wind and rain that is about in their favour in this second 40-minute period. It would take a mammoth effort from Kingston Rovers to get back in this game. I just feel that the Hull forwards got the edge over them to keep them at bay. We shall have to see. It's still a long way to go in this game yet, and a lot of football still to be played. Eastwood looking to take his personal tally in the match to 10 points. He's already scored and added 2 conversions. His penalty, which will make the score 14-4, will be his 4th intervention into the match. The scoreboard at least. Eastwood with a sweep kick once more, but it's just to the right of the post, and that's his first miss of the afternoon. Keeps the score at 12-4. Heavy rain here once more through the sunshine. It surprised me that the pitch hasn't cut up a lot worse than it is.
Come on!
Sharp, it's a couple of yards, but that's about all. Oh, that was a good ball inside there. A chance for Mark Jones to make some room. Unfortunately knocked on. Big number 8 then was through a gap by Lee Jackson. Chatfield now from the scrum. On to Parker. Parker unable to get past his opposite number, and he's knocked back as well with help from James Grant. Then does the quick tap because there's no marker, and gains a good 15 metres there at least. Chamberlain onto the substitute Harrison. Chamberlain once more, on this time to number 8, Wayne Jackson. Here's Bright Sodji. Sodji trying to make room for the run, gets away in the first challenge, and he's pulled back by Jones, who half lost him and then regained hold of the Flying Woodman. Here's Chatfield, the other Harrison, the Chris variety involved in this attacking foray. Gets nowhere though. Jones again once more with a tackle. He's got through a huge amount of work in this match. Chatfield onto the number 11, Andy Thompson. And that, I feel, is the 6th tackle. Yes, Mr. Smith signals it. Hull with possession once more. quite sure why the penalty's been given. Oh, there we go. Mr. Smith makes his decision clear. Not happy about that tackle at all. Hull with a penalty and a chance to put some pressure on the Hull KR line. I'm sure Royce Simmons would like to end the season with a win. He would like to do it comfortably too against local rivals Hull KR, not just for the fact that Kingston Rovers beat Hull at Craven Park a couple of weeks ago, but for the fact that this season has been a lean one for the early bird fans. Sharp once more with a good run. Remember Hull's last game of the season away at Sheffield Eagles at the Don Valley Stadium. Sheffield still with hopes again in the Premiership. Here's Paul Eastwood though for Hull. Good run from him, and he's just short of picking up a third try for Hull. Jackson, a little greedy then coming from acting half, and he's lost the ball. In fact, I don't think it was Jackson in the end who tried his luck from acting half. It looked instead to be Rob Nolan, as Hull are called offside this time. A penalty this time for George Fairbairns, KR. Soji in with the drive, and he's not the wisest man to be taking a ball in that position. Soji involved once more, and once more he gains little or no ground. You feel he would be better employed out wide, but he's seen little of the ball there, and he's coming in to try and get something from the mud. Chamberlain on to number 13, Paul Speckman. Seen very little of him this afternoon. Chatfield on to the substitute, number 15, Chris Harrison. Parker now at acting half, goes for the kick. Doesn't look a bad one at all. Deep inside the Hull half, Richard Gay has to pick it off. In fact, it was Neil Turner who came up with possession for Hull. Gay does the work, as does Nolan from acting half.
Come on, I'll get back in up.
Here come Hull now through the forwards. McNamara with the run. Henjack looking for the blind side. Sharp. Here's Hope down the wing. As Gay goes for the kick. It's not a bad one, but it's straight down the throat of Mike Fletcher. Fletcher gets the ball clear of the danger zone, but he's driven back into it by some testing Hull tackles. Jackson gains a couple before he's knocked down. Call from the crowd is of big tackles, and that's certainly what the Hull forwards are putting up as they pin the Hull KR compatriots into that 20-yard area. Thompson tries to release the ball in a tackle. This would have been unwise because there was no real player of any decent position around him. Another good tackle that time from Busby. Must be approaching the 5th tackle now for Hull KR. Chatfield looks for the kick. Here's number 13, Speckman. Speckman tries to get the ball away. Jackson in with the tackle and the pickup. He's a little slow to get to his feet. Here's Lee Jackson. Hull once more with the platform and 6 tackles to put some pressure on the Hull KR line.
Come on, Hull! Get rid of those sticks.
Henjack on to Gale. Gale misses Henjack out, brings into play Sharp, but he's unable to gain any real yardage. His push for the line is stopped by the Hull KR forwards. Harrison there knocking back Mark Jones. the help of the other substitute, Harrison, and Andy Thompson. Oh, knock on from Henjak, a rare mistake from him. And he's hit late too there from Parker, which wasn't needed. It was on the 6th tackle, so there'll be no scrum. It's just to play the ball for Hull KR. Harrison tries to get the ball clear, gets the ball away to Chamberlain, as does Chatford. The Hull defence once more staying firm. They've quickly got on each of the men who've had possession of the ball. And I'm not quite sure what decision the referee will come up here with. He's come up with a scrum, a knock-on given against Hull KR, I feel. Yes, Hull with the head and ball.
Yes, yeah.
Unable to gain the ball cleanly from the scrum, and I've got a feeling it'll have to be retaken. Again, the ball not cleanly away. Chatfield picks it up. The players continue in this vein. A penalty will be given, and it has been. It's gone Hull's way. The ball not being allowed clearly to go to the scrum. Another set of 6 on the Hull KR line. Jones, again the battering ram. Sucks in those forwards. Maybe provide a gap. Jackson all for Henjak. Henjak, oh, he was so close to getting over the line. Realised that he would have been on his back if he could stretch for the line with the ball. And that's a silly knock on there by Steve McNamara, who's wrestled to the ground off the ball by the Hull KR forward, which looks like his opposite, number 10, Craig O'Brien. Here's number 6, Wayne Parker. Now Chatfield on to Andy Thompson. Hull KR yet to have any sight of the Hull line in this second half. They've been pinned inside this 50-metre area for some 15 minutes. Chatfield unable to get any distance forward. He's met well by Lee Jackson, and that's the 5th tackle once more. Parker with a kick. Not a good one. Straight to Neil Turner. Will bring the ball back into that Hull KR half. Hull could do with another score.
Come on, Hull!
Just to give them that advantage and that leeway. 8 points in front, remember, 12 points to 4 the lead, thanks to tries by Gale and Eastwood and 2 conversions from Eastwood. Hull KR's points coming from the boot of Mike Fletcher, 2 penalties from him in the first 40 minutes. Eastwood could have increased the lead in this second half. He missed a penalty. His first misdemeanor in the second half, and there's another misdemeanor, this time from substitute, it looks like, number 14, Rob Nolan. Nolan just on the field. That was his first touch with the ball. It looks like he's come on for Ivan Henjak. I'm not quite sure what has happened to Henjak. It certainly happened beyond the view of our cameras. Let's hope it's not serious for the Australian. As a little fracas occurs there off the ball, and the player is down there. Tremendous punch from centre, Carl Hall. Not quite sure the Hull player was who went down. It could have been Jackson. I think it was Lee Jackson. In fact, Richard Gay is the man to be downed by the right arm of Carl Hall. Just to go back to the substitution, number 14, Rob Nolan coming on, and Ivan Henjak leaving the field. Unpleasant circumstances. He looked in a lot of pain apparently. We hope it's not serious. I wish him a speedy recovery. He certainly looks as if he won't be taking any more part in this game. That'll be a big blow for the early birds. Penalty, another blow for Hull. He's gone Hull KR's way, which seems surprising because Kyle Hall gave a punch then from Richard Gay. But Gay done for the initial foul on the centre, Kyle Hall. Fletcher with a kick for touch. It's not made it. Hull pick it off. Maybe a little justice done there. Hull with the ball back once more and the pressure. Jones once more with a drive on the second tackle. Now they're trying to give some air to the ball. Certainly moving it forward. Neil Turner, the man to be brought down there. Here's Lee Jackson from acting half. He's lost the ball. You have to accept that these things will happen in these conditions. Wet and slippery surface. Too many passes slipped. And knock-ons. Let's look at the middle of that field. A real quagmire of a pitch the Boulevard has turned into in the middle section. Certainly not deterred the Hull forwards from getting involved. Another good hit there from number 10, Steve McNamara, and Mark Jones involved. As Mr. Smith is involved once more, not to the appreciation of the crowd. Fletcher with a kick for touch. Penalty going Hull KR's way once more, and a rare chance for them to go in the whole half. Certainly they need a try to get back in the game. The Hull defence though has stood firm so far. Only 2 penalties conceded by misdemeanours. Mike Fletcher is punished.
Come on, listen!
Being urged on by the fans. Very good crowd really inside Boulevard, considering there's only local pride at stake. Awful conditions and weather for a game that's been played in April. I wouldn't mistake this for the winter months. Here's number 13 though, Paul Speckman, to get back to the game. Now number 6, Wayne Parker. Again the kick isn't a good one. Turner picks it off. That's been the difference, in my view, between the two sides. The kicking, Hull's kicks have pegged Hull KR back into their own half, while Hull KR's kicks have kept Hull on the offensive. And don't forget, both tries came through kicks through, as Hull pick up a penalty there to once more relieve the pressure and turn it back to the Hull KR players.
Looks good in the Daily Mail. Yeah.
Through this second half, Hull leading thanks to 2 tries and 2 goals from Paul Eastwood. The first try from Scott Gale, the second one from Paul Eastwood, and 2 goals from that man who's also missed a penalty. That of course in the second half. Here's Lee Jackson, brings into play Mark Jones. Jones once more with a powerful run.
Come on, Hull, back up! Come on, Hull!
Good running there once more from the Hull forwards, who really are taking the game to Hull KR. There's a foot then from Des Harrison, he got away with it. Sharp now involved once more with Jackson. Jackson brings into play Gary Nolan. Really being urged on now by the supporters, looking for that crucial third try of the game that would really put them in the driving seat for the 2 points. That's not a bad kick through. He was unlucky then. It took a rather kind deflection as far as Hull KR will be concerned, but it's come back to Neil Turner, and it means 6 more tackles. Here's Rob Nolan. using one of them up, gaining a couple of yards in doing so. Steve McNamara now. Hull will want something from this raid. Extensive pressure on the Hull KR line in this second 40 minutes, but nothing really to show for it, apart from the missed kick from Paul Eastwood. Here's John Sharp, hit and spin, but he can't get over the line. 5th tackle. Quickly moved. No knock on, says the referee. Grant gets the ball away to Eastwood. Eastwood's hit. And the ball's in touch. And that, we feel, will be a turnover on the 6th tackle. There'll also be a substitution for Hull. Number 12, John Sharp, is coming off. I feel it'll be number 11, Russ Walker, who went off in the first half, coming back on. Harrison driving the ball clear. Remember, Hull have also lost Ivan Henjak. He went off with an injury earlier on in the half. Rob Nolan's come on for him and moved to scrum half. Ivan Henjak looking in considerable pain as he left the field this afternoon. Play here from Hull KR, keeping the ball alive and making sure they don't knock on for once. Wayne Parker was the man tackled in possession. Carl Hall was the man who got the ball away to him. Now Chatfield with the first real chance for Hull KR, but he lost his support completely. He ran down a blind alley then, and yet he had 2 lights of hope either side of him. Carl Hall once more involved. Should have been given the pass, and if he had been given it, you felt he would have gone for the score as Soji tries to keep the ball in play. He can't do so. Hull once more will gain possession from the scrum. You have to say that Hull have deserved this lead, and if they can come out with a win, they've deserved the win too, because they've put up an excellent defensive performance. The forwards have certainly been a lot better than our Hull KR compatriots. Jackson at acting half, takes it on his own. Gains a couple of yards before he's knocked down by Parker. Now Rob Nolan from that acting half position. He too gains a couple more yards before he's put to ground. Chance maybe for the ball to be given some air. McNamara into the line, not into a gap. He's well stopped by Wayne Jackson. That's not a bad kick through here by number 14 Nolan, but he's unable to pick up his kick. But once more the Hull tackling is firm and ferocious. They make sure that they hit the Hull KR forwards and keep them down. Harrison, he too has been kept under wraps there by 3 or 4 Hull players. His namesake Chris Harrison involved, but once more no real yards gained. They're still stuck inside their own half, deep inside 30-metre line. Good slip there, Parker with a chance to break, and he's managed to get over the halfway line. Rare excursion here for Hull KR. Chance if they can keep the ball alive, but they can't do so cleanly enough. And the pass by number 5, Mike Bivy, was a slack one. In fact, it was Carl Hall passing it to Mike Bivy. And Mike Bivy was the man who lost the ball, and Hull regaining possession. And the emphasis once more with them to put some more pressure on the Hull KR line. This is good play. They moved the ball out to the far side of the field. Unfortunately, though, it showed a lot of hands there in that move. There wasn't much ground made. Inside the last 10 minutes of the game, kick on was by Nolan. He seemed to be elbowed. He's found touch. The touch judge with the yellow flag, Mr. Wheatley, who hasn't been reluctant to come on the pitch at all, has signalled that he felt that the Hull player was impeded. Punch the ground is the words. And the penalty has gone the early birds' way. You fancy maybe Paul Eastwood would have a crack at goal here. Decision still to be made, and yes, Paul Eastwood has said that he'll have a crack for the 2 points. He's had 2 from 3 this afternoon, converted both tries, but was unfortunate with the penalty attempt. He just looked to the right in his second half. Eastwood will be pushing for that man of the match spot after picking up 8 points in the game so far. Could make it 10 if this kick goes through the posts. Certainly, though, one of the forwards deserves it. My vote will go Mark Jones's way. He's had an outstanding match, not just running but defending too. He, John Sharp, Steve McNamara, Dean Busby and Anthony Jones, since he's come on, have all played instrumental parts in this lead. Let's hope subsequent win. Eastwood can take it out of the boiling bag and into the waiting period. If he can put this kick over. McNamara coming to give him a hand. Wynn not giving him any help at all. All this is wasting up valuable minutes. I'm sure referee Mr. Smith has stopped the clock. We played 6 minutes of injury time in the first half. I'm not surprised if we play about the same in this second. As Eastwood gets ready to have a go for goal. It's not a bad effort too. Cleanly between the posts, and the 10-point advantage is restored. And that 10-point advantage has come through Paul Eastwood, who now has 10 points in this match. That penalty should seal the win. Hull KR to have victory in this game would have to score and kick both tries conversions to win this one. And did not even look like putting any emphasis on the Hull line throughout this second half, nor really in the first. But they've managed to get the ball from the kick-off. Here's full-back Mike Fletcher. Chamberlain at acting half. The ball away to Chatfield. Chatfield brings in Jackson. There was an arm then, and rightly so, the penalty given. Number 15, Anthony Jackson, was the offender. High tackle from him. His elbow and arm was raised into the face of number 8, Wayne Jackson, and Hull KR rightly with the penalty. Fletcher kicks for touch and finds it. A chance for Hull to get some more defensive practice in. A chance for their local derby rivals, Hull KR, to put some points on the board and force themselves back in the match. Harrison, some 15 yards short of the Hull line. Hull, for once, held in hold as Hull KR, not for the first time in the game, lose possession on the third or fourth tackle. They haven't kept the ball on the Hull line for 6 tackles in this second half. We can't really remember them doing it consistently in the first. Hull driving the ball clear now. They'll look for the long kick just to put the pressure back on the Hull KR defence. With a good drive from McNamara. Scott Gale unable to release the ball. Does the sensible thing and keeps hold of it.
Come on, Hull!
And there comes the kick.
Chase it up, Hull!
It's a deep one. And as we have said, it's been the kicking game of Hull that has set the platform for this win. It's turned
Put him down.
one end of the field to the other as Hull KR, with 1 minute looped on the attack, have been pushed back on the defensive, while Hull KR's kicks have only really gone straight down the throat of people like Neil Turner and Paul Eastwood and put the emphasis back on their defence once more. Here's Parker with an ambitious long ball, finds Soji. Soji steps inside Turner, but Nolan's across, the substitute to make the tackle. 13 Speckman on to Chris Harrison. Chatfield. Number 10, Craig O'Brien, one of the few forwards who looks as if he's managed to last the half without getting dirty. That kick from Chatfield straight down the throat of Nolan. Hull happy to just play one-man rugby now. Use these tackles to waste a couple more minutes. We're approaching the end of this local derby, Hull's last game of the season at home. Of course, they have one more match after this at the Don Valley Stadium against Sheffield Eagles. You've got all the coverage on your Hull video. Nolan, clever little chip there over the top, and he's racing after the ball, but Fletcher's there to pick it up. He will probably be one of the pick of Hull KR's players this afternoon. Craig O'Brien now with a forceful run from him. He's come back into the game more in the last few minutes. Chris Walker, of course, on for John Sharp, trying to get some work done, and a nice tackle around the legs. Number 15, Chris Harrison. 2 tackles from 2 drives from Walker. Here's number 10 again, Craig O'Brien. 2 drives and 3 tackles for him. And the penalty is given by Mr. Smith, holding from the Hull forwards. Hull KR giving the penalty and the chance to resurrect the 2 points. Though you'd think that it was getting a bit late for them to produce 2 scores and 2 goals. I'll not say Hull have got the game in the bag, but it's certainly well in their favour at the minute. That's Des Harrison having his face rubbed with a little mud there by the Hull forward. Parker into switches with Chatfield. Chatfield runs down a dead end, then brings into play Speckman. The loose forward, Speckman loops around, finds support and substitute Chris Harrison. Harrison once more is hit and stopped as Hull produce more defensive qualities to be admired. They've certainly been up to their best here in keeping Hull KR at bay. And they come out of the match without conceding a try. I'm sure Rose Simmons will have a big smile on his face. 14-4 the score here at the Boulevard. Just 2 points in this second 40-minute period, coming from the boot of Paul Eastwood a couple of minutes ago. That we feel has sealed the win here between these 2 local rivals. Looks as if it's going to be another scrub. More seconds ticking away. We are now, I make it, approaching the end of normal time and going into injury time at the end of this match. Eastwood will kick for touch. The Hull KR fans just starting to slip away there. I think they've realised that their side is on to a loser this afternoon.
Come on out!
Although still looking for the icing on the cake. Here's Jones, who's had a very impressive afternoon. If he doesn't pick up the Man of the Match award, he certainly should have done. We'll feel aggrieved, in my book at least. Here's Steve McNamara, or rather number 15 Anthony Jackson. Now Russ Walker. It's been a very good forward display from Hull this afternoon. Dangerous inside ball there. Looks like Henjak. Yes, Ivan Henjak back on the field, thankfully. His injury mustn't have been as serious as thought.
Go on, hit him!
As Chamberlain's not back, and Chatfield now being knocked down too.
Come on, hit him!
Harrison gets the ball away to Chamberlain. He's unable to go any forward at all. The whole player is still in the last few seconds of this game, hitting as hard as they did in the first few minutes of it. Chatfield moving the ball to his right. Hulkar having to give the ball to Mayer. They desperately try and get some points on the board. Here's Des Harrison. Harrison with support around him, and Speckman though, once more running down a dead alley. They have no speed, it seems, Hulkar, to break the whole line. And even when they've managed to half break it, they've had no support. It's come in depth.
Chase it all.
Chance here for Hull to put more pressure on, and a cracking tackle there from number 15, Anthony Jackson. Keeping Chatfield pinned down. And Brian now driving the ball clear. As we await the full-time hooter. That's a little high there. The man of the match award has been announced, and it's gone Lee Jackson's way. No, take nothing away from the hooker. He's had a very good afternoon and has performed extremely well as the Great Britain hooker. But my vote would have certainly gone Mark Jones's way. He's led by example. Consistent drives, 10 yards or more, and his tackling has been impeccable this afternoon. Lee Jackson's picked up the Man of the Match award, and he too deserves some recognition. He's had a very good afternoon indeed. Here's Des Harrison. Hulkar looking for some consolation at the end of this one. Looks like they've got another penalty. Yes, Mr. Smith not happy about Hull lying on the tackle. They just seem to have tired a little in the last few minutes of Hull. All the tackling and forceful running has finally took its toll. Here's Chris Harrison. Player went down then, not sure who. He seemed in some pain then for Hull. Chamberlain onto Chatfield. Parker kick through, and Richard Gay picks it up. We're happy to know the Hull player was Rob Nolan, and he's quickly got to his feet, and now another Hull player goes down. It seems as if it's just a bit of time wasting. Richard Gay though just looking a little pain, but Mr. Smith is having none of it. He wants the game to get quickly underway.
Come on, all.
Jones wants more there with his drive on the second tackle. Jackson, good run from acting half. Gay receiving some treatment now and is fit to continue. As the time ticks away. Hull's last league game in the Stones British Championship First Division next season, of course. We'll be back to just 2 divisions. Hull remember one more game before that. Of course, they can't reach the Premiership. Thinking that they'll not want to finish in the bottom 2, and this win should assure that. It should also push Hulkar to the wooden spoon place, which they're looking likely to have hold of by the end of the season, where they of course won't get relegated. Certainly this game would have been a very different one if the 2 sides were to be relegated from the First Division. Certainly would have had a lot more at stake than just local pride. Chamberlain on from Chatfield. Chatfield now into Speckman. Speckman with a high pass, and that's not bad at all from Hulkar. They've managed to spread the ball to Fletcher. Once more though, Hull in with the tackles, Henjak and James Grant keeping hold of the man. As Speckman manages to get it back to Parker. On no for Chris Harrison. Harrison inside for centre Carl Hall, but suddenly Hull now looking for some icing on the cake. It looks as if they might be able to get over here. No, the player's caught. Not quite sure, it might have been McNamara stealing through, or was it Lee Jackson? Yes, man of the match, Lee Jackson, looking for the final try of the game, and unfortunately, and very surprisingly, he's given a penalty away there for not playing the ball quickly enough. And he's also had 10 yards given against him for a bit of back chat. Well, that was a bit silly from Jackson. It was a little harsh too from Mr. Smith. Jackson looking to really make sure that man of the match award with a try in the final seconds of this game. Held up short. He seemed to be trying to get himself free to play the ball, but Mr. Smith he was just time wasting. Chatfield on though for Parker. Parker trying the ambitious little chip over the top. There's Henjak, and he seemed to be kicked there in the head, and he was too for number 11 Andy Thompson. Henjak laying on the floor there. He looks in trouble. The ball into play, and I'm sure now there'll have to be some help there for Ivan Henjak. He was obviously kicked by Andy Thompson. That was shown up clearly. Mr. Smith now will come over, I feel. There's Hull and Hull KR players. Carl Hall there is straight in to have a look at Ivan Henjak. There's another Hull player, it looks like Steve McNamara. No, it's in fact Russ Walker who's down, and he's signalling to the referee now that this is a lot serious than I'm sure that Mr. Smith thinks. Mr. Smith still not obliging in giving Ivan Henjak the time of day. I think maybe feels that Henjak is just playing a little time-wasting tactic, but here come the St John's ambulance men. There's no time-wasting tactics at all here from Henjak. He's in serious trouble. It was very clear there. Andy Thompson, as he tried to kick the ball, I don't think it was intentional. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Henjak diving, trying to get there. Thompson trying to kick the ball through, and he seemed to catch his neck. Watching on, I think they've suddenly realised that this is a lot serious than at first was thought. Henjak, who left the field earlier on in the half with an injury to his mouth, we have now found out. That looked serious enough in itself, but he managed to come on for the last 10 minutes of this game, and now will leave on a stretcher. Well, this is a sad end to Hull's last league game against local rivals Hull Kingston Rovers. Australian Ivan Henjak has been one of the promising players from the season. He's been probably the most consistent performer, and even when Hull have been getting hammered at grounds like Knowsley Road, places like Halifax and etc., Ivan Henjak has still been the pick of the performers. But he leaves on a stretcher, and it's his neck that the physio is holding and everyone is looking at. Certainly he doesn't look in good shape at all there. Looks as if he's got some kind of plastic ash around his neck. And we hope Ivan Henjak makes a speedy recovery. But certainly off that it doesn't look likely. Here's number 4, David Lydiard, back to the action of the match. We're right at the end of this local derby, Hull and Hull KR. The score, just to remind you, Hull 14, Hull KR 4. And once more the ball to ground from Hull KR. We're right at the end of this one. Hull with 2 points, it seems now, bar from a miracle from Hull KR. It's been marred in the last few minutes by that injury to Ivan Henjak. Nolan being told to take the scrum again. As the rain starts to team down even more now. Here's Mark Jones, it seems, with a run through. And there goes the full-time hooter. Hull ending the season with a win. Their last home game defeating Hull Kingston Rovers. Revenge for an early season defeat against Hull KR at Craven Park. And the 14-4 victory here. Paul Innswood with 10 points in the match. The other try coming from Scott Gale, with the only scores for Hull KR coming from the boot of Mike Fletcher. Remember, Hull's last game was at the Don Valley Stadium against Sheffield Eagles. This win will certainly keep Hull now out of the bottom two. Final score from the Boulevard: Hull KR 4, Hull 14.